said when Angel and Caitlyn got into it in the championship game, and Angel did the ring thing. I said, this is the Magic Johnson, Larry Bird moment for the WNBA. Like, this is great. I'm a storyteller. I think storylines are so fucking important. I think you need villains. I think you need heroes. Mm-hmm. You need shit to sell. You got to sell a fight, like brand all of this. Mm-hmm. And it upset white men to watch this strong, winning, unapologetic Black woman be in their, be in Caitlyn's face.
In their savior's face.
Yeah. And they still cling to it. And it's now like spun to this whole thing where like Caitlyn's better than Angel and blah, blah, blah.
I'm going to stop right there. There's actually a white guy in that room. And this clip is from Joe Budden, because Joe Budden likes to strike these videos. But there's a white guy in the video in that room, and he allows that dialogue to just walk. He doesn't push back on anything. He doesn't try to say like, come on, like white guys are upset with her. Like, that's not even the case. Like, I hate when people go this route of saying, when it comes to Caitlin Clark, it's all the white bros. First of all, there's plenty of women that love Caitlin Clark as well, too. Plenty of white women, plenty of Black women, plenty of Asian women, Asian men, all types of people like Caitlin Clark. The problem with Angel Reese, and I'll let her, get back to her busted, reasoning. But the thing with Caitlin Clark is she didn't need Angel Reese. She didn't need to be someone to be a villain for her. She was always going to be a star. There's just nobody was like killing it in the college level as much as, doing it to the high level that Angel Reese, or not Angel Reese, but Caitlin Clark was doing it. All these people were people started to show up like like they say about Caitlin Clark fans. They started to show up like Angel Reese fans. But you fast forward to today, Caitlin Clark's jersey is selling off the rack. They have these sellout crowds, and we're not talking about at home. We're talking about when she visits other teams, they have the sellout crowd. So if it's really about that hate, there's plenty of other people that they could have been hating on. Caitlin Clark is, they could have been upset with. Like, Angel Reese is a non-factor. If Angel Reese was like spectacular at basketball, I think you might have a conversation there. But Angel Reese really isn't. It's actually depressing watching Angel Reese. Not depressing, but Angel Reese, they're struggling too right now. I know Fever is struggling, but the Sky, they're really struggling. They actually might get their coach fired this season. And it's all because of, they're trying to placate the Angel Reese. And again, like I said, she might be onto her second coach.
So Joy was partially right. Partially. I'll give her partial credit. You're right, and you're right too, TR, in the sense that Caitlin Clark does not need Angel Reese. Her fan base was there and growing no matter what she did.
Right.
She lost that championship game in college to LSU and still walked away with a larger fan base. So no matter what happened, Caitlin Clark was going to be fine. Now, the problem is the WNBA, whether they know it or not, needs some type of rivalry and some type of villain. So technically you could argue they need Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese to need each other, but it hasn't worked out that way. I don't think Angel Reese is equipped to be a villain. I've seen little people chipping at her, and I see it starts to get to her at times. You have to give 0 Fs if you really want to be a villain, and you got to stand 10 toes down and don't care what anybody thinks. I don't think Angel is built like that. I don't think Caitlin Clark wants to be the face of the league. I think she just wants to play basketball, honestly. Every type of conflict that has been thrown her way, she's walked the other way and walked back on stuff. She changed her position. We talked about it a couple months ago where she had to put the cape on for all the Black women. I guess they were putting some type of
the Time magazine. Yeah.
So you have one person who's a great basketball player but avoids conflict. You have another player who on the surface appears to be fine with all the smoke that she's getting, but it's slowly starting to get to her. So I think Angel Reese has been playing it smart lately and not talking about Caitlin Clark as much as she used to. And I think she just needs to continue to improve her game because she does throw up a lot of bricks. She does. Yeah. She really does. Her post game needs some work, man. And Lisa Leslie told her that too, to her face. So it's valid criticism, and hopefully she continues to work and get better. But because Caitlin Clark is she's in the hot seat right now. Angel Reese has a great following too. They can both be great in their own regards.
Yeah, and then just a little update on Caitlin Clark, because right now Caitlin Clark is she's actually out for, I think she has a game tonight, and she's actually out for like a groin injury. And honestly, what I think is happening, I think we're starting to see all those hits, those pushes, those chippiness towards Caitlin Clark. I think starting to weigh on her because she just came off of a hamstring issue a couple weeks ago, came back for 2 games, and then she has this groin injury. I think it's starting to affect her game though, because when you play Caitlin Clark, it's always physical. And Caitlin Clark's not a very physical person, I want to say. I mean, she's not throwing up those screens like that, like Aaliyah Boston. But when it comes to like Caitlin Clark, though, I mean, the refs ain't giving you no calls, and everyone's putting a shoulder into you. I think those hits have finally caught up to Caitlin Clark, though. And part of the reason why she's out of the game, or she's not playing tonight, but also just sheer incompetence with the WNBA and also their coach, because they don't know how to protect Caitlin Clark. And then also you have people like Joy Taylor and the WNBA where they're taking these subtle shots at Caitlin Clark, or at least they're not uplifting her. Because with the NBA, I mean, it was Michael Jordan. They was always uplifting Michael Jordan, and then they uplifted some other people, but it was always Michael Jordan. Like, he's going to the next level, or he's going to propel the game forward, and also globally. Caitlin Clark has the opportunity to do that, but she's never going to make it to year 3 if she keeps getting injured and keeps getting hit every time. Like, she might be one of those players that, like what happened with Grant Hill, like, expected to do great things, but injuries, took a toll.
Yeah, and while we're talking about all of this, like, this is yet another moment where we're not talking about A'ja Wilson, who is still the best player in the league. But you cannot deny the success of Caitlin Clark. I don't know why people are still fighting this. I've taken shots at her fans a couple times because I think some of them worship her in the way that Beyonce's fans worship her. But that doesn't take away from the fact that she's a very solid basketball player. Nobody can take that away.
Yeah, and A'ja Wilson.
By the way, I just posted an article, TR. The last time Caitlin Clark was hurt, ticket prices dropped by 71%.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
So
yeah, the Caitlin effect is real.
Yeah.
I just said we would not be talking about Caitlin Clark the way that we do if it wasn't for that moment with Angel Reese. And I will die on this hill. I will die on this hill.
I was with you.
I will die on this hill.
Yeah, see, there he is.
I will fight this for
Joy, chill out, yo.
300
let me ask you a question. Does Caitlin have a rivalry with anybody else other than Angel Reese? Or a perceived rivalry?
A perceived rivalry.
17% of all flagrant fouls last year went to Caitlin Clark.
Okay, that's not what I asked.
Crazy stat.
That's not what I asked.
He said went to Caitlin Clark. What does he mean by that?
I believe he said that 17% of all fouls committed in the WNBA were against Caitlin Clark. I believe that's what he meant to say.
Is that true? That's crazy. I gotta look that up.
Yeah, we gotta have to validate that. I don't know about that one.
We're talking about storylines here.
Last year, as a rookie,
It was just
the league was clearly, and by the league I mean the other players, were clearly sending a message, which is exactly what the fuck I would do.
Yep. And that's why you don't listen to, first of all, Stephen A gets a lot of smoke. He says a lot of crazy stuff every now and then, but Stephen A can be right. He can sometimes have those uncomfortable conversations, especially with the whole LeBron fiasco. Joy Taylor, Molly Karam, who's that chick that hates black men on ESPN? Michelle
Andrews.
What's her name again?
Malika Andrews.
Malika Andrews. All of these women, they're trying to have these takes, and they're trying to be like this is, they go above and beyond with their takes, and they think it's low-hanging fruit with Caitlin Clark. Like, if you were to have this conversation, if she talked about anybody else but Caitlin Clark, maybe with A'ja Wilson, maybe if she would have that, smoke for A'ja Wilson, the problem is she knows that ain't nobody gonna listen to her. So in order for her to get these clicks, and which is why we're talking about her, because she says some outlandish shit, she's gonna bring up Caitlin Clark, and she has to say the most egregious thing against Caitlin Clark. This is they sent the message, and then this is what I do. Caitlin Clark is the cash cow. She's going to take you women to the next level. She's going to propel you forward. She's putting more money in your pockets, and that's why you got that new TV contract deal. It's not because of Asia Wilson. It's not because of Nafisi Collier, I think is her name, and she's been having an amazing year as well too. It's not because of Sabrina Ibiscano or whatever. See, I pay attention to some of the WNBA stuff, but I don't know who some of these women are. I can't pronounce the names, but and that's the WNBA's problem because terrible marketing on their side. But with Caitlin Clark, she has a good fan base, and they tend to, they show a lot. It's going to bring more eyeballs to her games because this is where everyone wants to show their ass. Everybody, they can't wait to play Caitlin Clark. They probably got it circled on their calendars when it's time to play Caitlin Clark. And what they do is when they get in front of her, they hurt her. We're not talking about like, hey, this is just a strong foul, tough foul. We're talking about people trying to put her on her ass. That's the problem. And Joy Taylor is just pushing that along. Like, we're not talking about like just, a hack. We're talking about like thrown on the ground.
Hey, so by the way, that stat is true. I just verified it on 3 different sources. Stat Surge, Sporting News, and Sports Illustrated. But check this out. So now that we've established that 17% of all flagrant fouls were committed on Caitlin Clark.
Oh, on. Okay, that makes sense.
Do you want to take a guess on which team the majority of those fouls came from?
Oh, Chicago Sky.
It was definitely the Chicago Sky. Okay, we have a problem here, y'all. We have a problem here because
shit.
Now we have statistical numbers in front of our face that's showing clear bias.
Yeah. Wow.
There's a number of WNBA players that's trying to get Caitlin Clark up out of here, even though she's gonna help y'all make some more money. So y'all shooting yourself in the foot again.
Yeah, there's some other stuff that's going on the Fever team. If we got time, we might cover it. But the WNBA just has like a huge problem, and it doesn't help it when you have these types of people. And it's not just Joy Taylor. There's a bunch of like these simp ass men that are out here trying to make a name or trying to like throw dirt on Caitlin Clark's name. Like they don't do it for anybody else. Caitlin Clark is the only one they throw dirt on. I mean, they don't throw dirt on fucking Angel Reese's name. Angel Reese is always talking high praise unless she's like talking to Shaq or Lisa Leslie. Like, and they're not even like throwing dirt on him. They're just telling her how to take her game to the next level. But everybody else, they go out of their way to, say these disparaging things about Caitlin Clark, and they act like everyone else has been angels in the, quote unquote, or I mean, pun intended, in the league towards, been nice to the Fever team. And they surely haven't been. I mean, some Andrew Reese just a week or 2 ago, just said, like, I heard some racist remarks. Come to find out, after an investigation by the WNBA, there were no racist remarks.
Yeah, we could clearly read Brittany Griner's lips to see what she said. But look, damn near. Oh, how am I muted?
MC got some technical problems.
All right, can you hear me?
Am I good now? He's gonna probably come out, but
all right, I'll be right back.
Yeah, 1 second. All right. I'm gonna click here. So, other things that's going on with the Fever team is their coach is having some trouble coaching, Stephanie White, and then also they just waived a player on their team, Dewana Bonner, who was a player who played for Stephanie White, their current coach, and she just flat out quit on the team. And this is a situation where the WNBA wants to be you there, MC?
Yeah, you got me now?
Yeah, I was just telling the folks about the Dewana Bonner situation, though, and I'll go more into that detail.
Hold on, before you go into that, TR, let me say what I was saying. What I could.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm still shocked by this stat because they're essentially saying 1/5 of all flagrant fouls were committed on her, right?
Yeah.
Like, at this point, you got to start asking questions about potential, like, organized assault. Like, this is not a stat to be taken lightly. Like, and we really got to like think about this, man. Like, what reason And you know what? I'm just going to say we've already proven in previous episodes that black men were the biggest watchers of WNBA before these young
Yeah,
women
no
hit
question.
the league, right? So you can probably deduce, based on Joy Taylor's comments, if you agree with her partially, that it's kind of black women that have all this smoke for Caitlin Clark.
Now, see, I'm gonna hold you accountable there, MC.
What do you mean?
It's not just black women; it's also white. It's all majority lesbian women that have a problem towards. Well, yeah, I would say I think it's majority because I know Angel Reese is straight, but I think it's majority lesbian women that have a problem with it because who is it? Dino Taurasi. She disliked Caitlin Clark. She would never say anything good about Caitlin Clark, and
well, they have that culture. TR, remember Candace Wiggins? She's been accusing them of this for years.
Yep, and and I'm gonna mention it just a little bit. So the Dewana Bonner situation. Essentially she was brought onto the team. She was picked up in the offseason. She played for a few games, did terrible. And she's a veteran in the league too, by the way. She's like been in the league for like 14 years. Solid player. And so she plays for a few games, gets benched, and then she quits on the team and forces a trade out though. Okay. Do you want to guess? Okay, maybe you won't know, but she wants to go to Mercury. Do you know who's on the Mercury team? If you had to just guess. And as soon as I say, you're gonna be like, yeah, that makes sense. Like,
Well,
what's the reason why she would go play in the Mercury?
I'm waiting on this one. I got my popcorn ready.
Her current girlfriend plays for the Mercury.
Oh God.
Yeah. So and I know we had this conversation a long time ago about the female players wanting to play on the team along with their person that they're dating or who they're married to, blah blah blah. I think that's a recipe for disaster. If I'm the WNBA, I would outlaw that because you don't know where their allegiance lies. Because this was a problem on the Fever team last year during the playoffs. Well, one of the players that they were playing against was dating the opponent. And so if these players want to quit teams just so they can play with their love interest or scissors pal, this is the thing. You can't allow it to happen, unfortunately. They're gonna have to get rid of that because it's too easy to rig a game. And I'm not saying they're rigging, but it's pretty. I mean, if you got somebody that's your girlfriend or whatever, and you both want to have terrible games, it's easy to do on that team.
Oh, man. This has never ever been considered in the NBA, but you really got to consider it in the WNBA because we know a lot of them play for the other team, and it's a fair question to ask. Like, hey, if you're playing against your girl, are you gonna go easy on her? Are you gonna let her get a couple buckets here and there in fear of messing things up at home? Like, these are fair questions to ask, and the WNBA is gonna have to deal with it at some point.
Like I said, it came up with I want to say Trinity Carter. Maybe it was her, maybe it was somebody else though. But and chat, you correct me. But there was a player on the team that same exact scenario came up though, because they were asking, or fans were wondering, did she take plays off so they can allow her girlfriend's team to win? Because that was the issue. And then that woman, I think she got traded to her girlfriend's team actually. Like, this is like a lot of crazy stuff that people talk about LeBron and his collusion of getting Bronny James. Ain't nobody saw that on ain't nobody said that about the WNBA. They force trades to go play with their girlfriends. And you know what I think it is? I don't think it's because they want to be next to their girlfriend. I think it's because they're the biggest cheaters. Because hold on. Because Candace Parker, the goddess Candace Parker, she blew up her family, her marriage. So when she went overseas, blew up her marriage and came back with a whole Russian white woman. Like, like nobody gives Candace any smoke. She's a black woman married to a black man, had black kids. All of the pro blacks would have loved that. But she blew up her marriage and she ain't caught no smoke and she went and married a Russian chick. Like, there's no conversation. And that's the conversation. So I think for a lot of these players, I think they're extremely jealous because what's the stat about the DV rate? It's the highest amongst them. So
I was just about to say that divorce and DV is the highest amongst lesbian couples.
Yeah. So there's a conversation to be had there because I think she wants to go play there, or they want to play together because they don't trust each other. or at least around all these other women. I mean, have you seen Sophie Cunningham? Sophie's straight too, but still.
Yeah. And there's some sites, by the way, that say that lesbian divorce rates are almost 3 times higher than every other segment. But we'll have that conversation another day.
Yeah. So, yeah, unfortunately for the Joy Taylors, the people having that conversation about CC needed Angel Reese, it's just nonsense. They just say this stuff for clicks and likes, just to put it out there. They would never, it's funny, all these people that say this stuff about or all these sports sportscasters or whatever they're called, they never say this to Caitlin Clark. They never get on they never have these interviews with Caitlin Clark and have this conversation. And I wish Caitlin Clark would actually push back on that. I wish she would be like, look, these people got my names in their mouths, but they ain't never had this conversation with me on the, called me up and said, hey, let's have this conversation, clear the air. How do you feel about some things? I'm not sure she would do it, but Caitlin Clark, she should probably look at that.
Hey, one thing I'm going to say about Caitlin Clark before we transition, I've seen instances, and I've seen this so many times, I should share a video compilation of this, where she's starting to go off of the edge a little bit, and she'll look to her dad in the crowd, and her dad will be like, hey, calm down, go play basketball. And her dad redirects her, refocuses her. I'm just going to leave it at that.
Yeah, I would say her husband should be doing that, soon to be husband, but whatever.
Yeah, that's another conversation.